and gentlemen, welcome to the second series of this Sunday Showdown, as I like to call it, here on the IronSquid Episode 2. And it's my pleasure to bring you a champion of the first series that you saw, hopefully, on the first episode of this amazing tournament. He hails from Team Liquid, and he is, of course, in the red trunks playing Zerg to the northeast. It is LiquidRet versus his opponent, who managed to pull off exactly the same thing. So this is kind of like a champions game between these two, even though we've just really started the excitement from Group A. In the blue trunks, playing Terran to the southwest, the legendary SlayerSBoxer.
And as much as I love SlayerSBoxer for his hard work within StarCraft 1 and, of course, StarCraft 2 with Team Slayers, I really can't see him winning this matchup. Ret is very, very good against Terran, and he even displayed that in most recently the MLG Winter Arena, where he managed to beat MVP 2-1. And alongside that, Boxer just doesn't have an overall good rate against solid Zerg players. He always has difficulty, and we can already see Boxer moving down with a barracks on 12 supply here hidden.
Yeah, hidden is one way of putting it. It's actually, as far as I can tell, in the path of that Overlord over there. So it might end up getting scouted here, assuming that that Overlord either doesn't... I don't know, it's really close. It might get there, it might not. Second barracks maybe going down here? Looks like it is. 2 racks, proxy, a really aggressive opener here up against a hatchery first from Ret.
And... you know, Red's going to see this eventually, and the thing is, you have to question SlayerSBoxer. You know, did he purposely put it there to be seen? And the thing is, 99% of Zerg players will have an Overlord above your natural. So if you look at that percentage, then you will say, yes, SlayerSBoxer put it there, he wants it to be seen, or rather not to be seen, but to maybe pick off that initial Overlord.
Yeah, that was my thoughts, because it's difficult to tell. It's really, really close. Maybe it spots it, maybe it doesn't. We're about to find out. And does it see it? It's so there, it's got it. And as you were saying, look at where the Marines were actually bound to. He's immediately moving in there to intercept that Overlord. Now, you might think this isn't a big deal, but at the start of a game, losing an Overlord like that is absolutely massive. You can't just build 9 more Overlords like you can in late game.
Indeed, and he has to build 2 Overlords now, of course, because one would put him back to where that one's about to die to, so he has to build a second one, and the bunker on the natural has gone unseen by LiquidRet. In his vision, he sees nothing. He should be expecting it, but the thing is, he doesn't know if it's 1 or 2 barracks. He only saw 1, and this could very easily be a hidden barracks, and Ret could have just been like, alright, he's just going to expand behind this, but no, indeed, pressure is coming.
Yeah, double bunker. One's already up. Spinecrawler's going at the front here, and this has affected Ret because he's had to build an Overlord. That's 100 minerals really early on in the game. That's going to affect the amount of queens he can get out, maybe the amount of links he can put out. It screws over everything at the start. The question is now, how much damage can Boxer actually do with this rush?
And he's going to be able to get into the bunker, killing Marines left and right. Overlords if Ret isn't careful as well here.
Yeah, the Zerglings are getting cut down. He is able to intercept and kill a Marine as it comes across. That one's going to get away, though, and makes its way to the bunker. That's another Overlord going down. Ret's now supply blocked again. And that's quite a lot of damage that's been done by Ret initially. But this bunker isn't dead yet, and he's going to lose all of his lings for the cost of that one bunker, which it's not a good trade for Ret. It doesn't really matter if he damaged that bunker because he just killed so little, and the salvage even goes off there as well. Now LiquidRet repositioning that Spinecrawler, and another salvage here from Boxer, and that's kind of it for Boxer. The rush is now done, and it leaves Ret to count the cost of what's actually happened to him here.
Indeed, but, you know, Zerg has the, you know, the mechanic of they build drones or units. They can't really do both on both. So he's building drones right now, and at the same time, Boxer's just replenishing and rebuilding that army size. It's getting bigger and bigger. So he could very easily push in again while Ret is droning, and the handful of links, which is at 8 now, will be nowhere near able to beat 12, 30 Marines. Are you kidding me? And in the background, he's also expanding.
Yep, he now moves to intercept. A nice little maneuver as the reinforcements come across under the infamous Space Shark right there. And Boxer now moving once again to reinforce. I love the fact he's just continuing to spit Marines out of these proxy racks. Other players would just move the racks back, but he hasn't done anything of the sort. And we've got quite a late anyway, speed coming in from Ret as well. So he's lacking map control here too. And another expansion coming down for Boxer.
Yeah, a lot of mistakes come out here by Rhett, really feeling that early pressure by SlayerSBoxer, and he's even got, 180 gas. What is he really going to use 180 gas for right now? That should have been minerals. He should have pulled out gas earlier, but he didn't because of this pressure. And once again, Boxer at 14 Marines. I mean, he stopped Marine production for now. Maybe he's going to lift up and go back, but no, he continues. But he does have this third early command center, so he's stretching his advantage even further than it is. And the SCV count, even though getting similar, tech-wise, production-wise, he's so far ahead.
Yeah, he really is, and that makes me wonder if Rhett might do something a little bit uncharacteristic, like, for instance, try to go for some kind of 2-base bust here against his opponent. There's another extract going out. Baneling Nest goes down right here from Rhett, so he might try and bust this because he just realized, I'm so far behind, I've got to kill him. I can't outdo him on the macro front.
Absolutely, and that may be what we see here. And Boxer is moving up the left now with these Marines, and so far gone undetected. Nothing around for Rhett. He does have the right Zanog tower, but of course around the left there's absolutely no detection. So we could be seeing, Rhett try bust through, Boxer moving around at the same time, but Boxer adds on a reactor. He's now taking the double gases at the same time. He has a tech lab in the main, of course, to go for stim straight away. But with the third command center now, he's not going to be moving out anytime soon. And Boxer's marching with a handful of Marines, 16 Marines here, which is like 80% of his overall army value. And now Rhett does know about it.
Yeah, another Overlord picked off as well, and he might even be able to take a second one here. That's actually what he's going for. He's draining the supply of Rhett once again. Takes down one Spine Crawl, looks for a second. The Lings are completely out of position here, but Rhett's now coming for the surround. It might be enough here to clean this up. Those Marines were already fairly badly damaged, and he moves in a good position, but Boxer is eliminated, and wowee! What a welcoming gift right here for Boxer from the Liquid players saying, welcome to Cloud Kingdom. Here is a delicious basket of fruit. And even with that many barracks in front of it, that's a ton of Banelings. What an inefficient bust this is going to be, but if it kills Boxer, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, there's only 11 Marines behind this, and there's like 40 Lings on the map, and he busts straight through.
Yeah, he's all the way through it. The bunkers aren't up in time either, and now Rhett's just going to go all for it. He smashes the bunkers before they're even able to do anything. The mineral line gets ripped to shreds, and you might think, well, a barracks wall-off is so strong, that's unbustable, right? But no, Rhett did the unthinkable and did just that. He completely busted it, and honestly, Boxer's only got 2 Marines left. He's got this single bunker that's already taking a lot of damage. Boxer moving into repair and actually deliberately using the SCVs as a shield here, but he's losing a ton of workers. Production facilities going down. He can't get enough Marines out. He's even queued Marines up here, which is not going to be enough, and Rhett responds in the best possible manner he can.
Yeah, he was so dead in this game, yet turned it around to be like a winnable situation here. And there's actually a bit of an illusion on that bunker. There's 2 Marines in there and 2 SCVs, so he's not even doing enough damage from that. So he was actually, trying to protect it, yet it's only doing 50% of what it should have been doing. And Boxer's like, oh my god, I can't believe I threw this game away from that such a winnable position.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, isn't it? And do you think Boxer got a bit greedy there, or did he just simply not suspect that Rhett would go for such an uncharacteristic, full-on 2-base bust? I mean, this was really all or nothing from Rhett.
Yeah, it really was, and I really don't think Boxer was expecting it, to be honest. I think he was expecting Rhett to be overly greedy rather than over-aggressive, especially in a barracks wall-off, but Rhett does it anyway.
Yeah, and I like that. Rhett's, he's known for being the king of drones, but I love the fact that he's flexible. And GG. And Boxer goes down to the fact that Rhett did something a little bit uncharacteristic, a little bit out of the ordinary, and it turned out to be exactly the right response.
And he picks up a win, which is putting him in an amazing position here.
Yeah, it really is. That's a good start there for Rhett. Boxer's been looking strong. If you watched everything going on Show 1 and the games versus Todd, he looked great there. But Rhett looked great against Puma as well. And can Rhett go through for the 2-0? That would be an amazing start. Absolutely fantastic to his group. Because he's going to have to fight pretty hard. He's going to end up going up against players like Marine King. So he's got to be really careful to not throw away these games against... It's hard to say that Boxer is an easier opponent, but this group is ridiculous. So, by all rights, you might think that, yeah, Boxer is certainly easier than Marine King.
Absolutely, and this group, man, is unraveling right now, and it is just getting more and more amazing, really is.
It is incredible. We're going to take a quick break, folks. When we come back, it's going to be Game 2 of Boxer versus Ret. Ladies and gentlemen, what a sensational start for our Zerg player, the one and only LiquidRet in the red trunks, playing Zerg to the east of the Belshire Beach Winter Edition, or as I like to call it, the Belshire Beach Sweden Edition.
Or Finnish. Finnish is better.
I think so at the moment. Yeah, I could tell you a story. A while ago, of course, we did the Assembly Winter Asus ROG tournament, and I was driving home. I wasn't, of course, driving because I'd been drinking. I was taking a cab because I'm responsible. Plus, I don't have a car in Finland, so that would be kind of weird. And we were going down the road, and we only saw two things. Cabs and trucks filled with snow. So you know what I figure? I figure that they are exporting snow from Sweden directly to Finland. I think that's how it is.
Yeah, it probably is, to please the Koreans as they come to Europe and expect snow in Finland, of course.
Yeah, definitely. You've got to be authentic, otherwise the Koreans get highly upset, and you wouldn't want that. And speaking of a Korean that is probably not highly upset after the previous game, but is most likely a little bit irked that his plan sadly went awry, it would be the one and only SlayerSBoxer in the blue trunks playing Terran to the west.
And it looks like he's doing the same thing. This time the single barracks is below his main base. The second SCV is coming down, so it looks like a second one will be planted here. Ret won't get this with an Overlord Scout, no doubt, and he won't get it with an early Drone Scout. You never ever check there initially, so he'll have to go into the main base, then probably look over the cliff or come back down or check elsewhere. But once again, you know, Ret has to be super careful, and this reminds me a lot of like SlayerSBoxer versus Idra, for example, in MLGs last year, where Boxer did this and Idra every time was greedy with his initial build and ended up losing pretty much every game.
Yeah, I think the metagame has perhaps evolved a little bit past the whole 2-racks opening thing, because Zergs have got really good at holding it, and this used to be the way that you answered Zerg going hatch first, like, ooh, 2-racks, yeah, threatening, but Zergs have got so much better at holding it now with drones and getting their build order right and not screwing everything up, and Ret, I mean, the caliber of play that we expect from Ret, I don't know how effective this is really going to be. Now, this time around, the variation that we see is that it will not be scouted, and it will probably not get it. It's definitely not going to get an Overlord kill either. So, how effective do you think this is going to be?
Well, he spots it straight away now. Like, he leans a drone over the cliff and does oversee it, but it should be fine. He's going to pull drones, and the thing is, though, that Marines are already on the way, so he actually has to fight the Marines rather than try to kill the SCV.
Yeah, he's going to go for the SCV anyway, and actually the Marine ran away there just because he didn't want to be surrounded, but the SCV gets taken down right about now, and, oh, it actually gets away, but it will be destroyed, and now we've got drones just chasing him all the way across the map. It's a lot of mining time being wasted right here by Boxer, and wow, those drones get caught out of position. Couple of easy kills here for Boxer's Marines.
Wow, once again, you know, we do see Ret skipping Queens and builds 12 Lings, which will definitely be enough to fight this, but Boxer's trying to recuperate altogether and then can take a fight.
Yeah, the question is, can he do it? And there's the surround there by Ret, and a little bit of micro here and there, but it's not quite enough to save those Marines. They're dead, and that bunker rush has just straight up failed.
Yeah, and with a Spinecrawler finishing now, he just needs to adjust the placement of it, and it's absolutely fine, and he's pushed it away successfully. Yet, he has slowed down, or Boxer that is, has slowed down the production, the economy of Ret, because the Queens are so late. They're only just now starting, and just a single one, and then has to build a second one because he doesn't have enough money to build them. And it looks like Ret trying to go for a little swing around, but is immediately shut down once again.
Yeah, nice interception there by Boxer, but I think we can safely say that that wasn't as effective as the first game. There was a lot more economic damage actually done. I mean, if we can look at the number of workers killed, there were 3 killed by Boxer, but there were also 2 killed by Ret, so it does kind of even up there. But, as you said, it does slow the economy down a bit. I just have to wonder if it was enough, because Boxer, of course, now going for his command center, and going once again for the double expand.
And these kind of builds are very open to busts with Banelings or even Roach Sling, because not only with this kind of 2 barracks expansion, you delay your tech a lot because you obviously don't get gas, but then throwing a second command center down, so you go double expanding, it's delayed even further. And usually you don't see them grab double gas there. It's either they throw another 2 barracks down so they can actually defend against early pressure. So we will see very, very late tech coming out here from SlayerSBoxer, and Ret so far taking double Vespene Geysers. He can obviously, well, he needs to get speed straight away, and can either tech up from here, can save his gas with double upgrades, or anything along those lines.
Yeah, should be absolutely fine. And Red alleviates his supply block and immediately is able to build 9 more drones, getting into a nice comfort zone there. 2 more barracks coming down, so it looks like Boxer's going to go for this wall off again. He's got his Marines outside just to kill off any scouts and is effectively able to intercept the Lings that are coming in his direction. Now, I suppose what Boxer's going to want to do here is to try and deny the third from his opponent for as long as possible.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a good amount of Marines, so he can poke out. He just has to be careful, because Boxer, since the early stage of the game, doesn't know anything. You know, he doesn't know, am I going to poke out like game 1, or am I going to lose everything, and then, you know, just commit suicide like he did in game number 1. So he is going to push out, but he has to be super careful. He does have, once again, almost 16 Marines, just 14 this time, but the thing is, he's taken a gamble that Rhett isn't doing the same thing, but once again, we see a lot of units in production and a Baneling Nest.
Yeah, and the Marines are just going to get slaughtered if they go anywhere near this. There's too many Lings. There are 2 Spine Crawlers, and he pokes up and ends up taking quite a bit of damage in the process. Baneling Nest behind that, Evolution Chamber as well, just to make matters even worse. And are we going to see the same trick? I have to assume that Red's just going to do the same thing, because it worked really well the first time. And Boxer doesn't have any bunkers behind this whatsoever. He could get caught out and lose the same way.
Yeah, he really could. I mean, Rhett is also having a backup plan. He's getting +1 and also layer, so it's not as straight out all in. But he may very well go for this again. This time, though, you know, Boxer didn't lose 60 Marines, so it's obviously going to be not as successful if Rhett decides to do it.
Yeah, that's very, very true. He didn't get cut to pieces in a failed attack on the natural this time. And the bunkers are now coming up. The Lings are outside the base, but they haven't started Banelings just yet. So, will he go for the bust? I mean, he might decide it's just simply not worth it, but no, he's going to go for it. He has a lot of Banelings on the way, and I don't know, Boxer's already pre-split quite nicely. He's not as split as he needs to be, but he's quite spread out, and he's ready to receive this, and these bunkers are going to be up in time.
Yeah, Rhett's decided to do this because he saw the factory and only just had been started. So he's like, alright, you only have Marines, let's try it. But like I said, 60 Marines surviving this time and 3 bunkers finishing. This is nowhere near going to be as successful, and he's still going for it. I mean, in the production tab, he's got many links to back this up with.
Yeah, all credit to him, mate. If he can destroy his opponent here, then that's great, but it takes a lot of Banelings to smash through that. Most of those get out, and there's the split from Boxer. Great focus fire by Boxer. Holy hell, did that fall flat on its face.
Yeah, and only 1 barracks fell this time, not 2, so it gets repaired and can be easily walled off once again. And Boxer immediately on the rebound is just going to go and go to a dirty club.
Don't tell Jessica that. Violence will happen in the Slayer's house, and not the good kind. It's as simple as that. The 3rd base is now coming down for Rhett, and of course the risk being that Boxer can strike at it. He's got tanks on the way. He's got Siege Tech on the way, also working on +1 and Medivacs. However, Rhett has gone forward, but he gets caught out. A good amount of fire being inflicted here by Boxer. A single Spinecrawler killed already. He's still going to be careful about those Banelings, though.
Yeah, indeed, and he does see Baneling's been morphed, so he doesn't really want to take a fight here and does return home, but now you're seeing the strength of that early 3rd command center coming into play. He has a good economy, he has double engineering bay, and tanks, and medivacs. He has everything here, and very shortly we'll look to pick up his 3rd and just move down to that big open area on the underneath his natural, where he can establish a fortified position, maybe with a bunker or 2, and obviously where all his tanks will be sieged. But Rhett, you know, he's going for this +1 melee. I think it may have got cancelled actually and then rebuilt, as that is actually only halfway done, and it started a very long time ago.
Yeah, he must have done that maybe when he saw something incoming. He's like, oh, well, I'm going to need the extra gas and so on and so forth. But now the 3rd base is up for Rhett. His economy's in a really good state at the moment, and it comes down to, can he hold map control and prevent a big push out from Boxer, which is now going to be supported by tanks. Even moving his tanks to the front there with the Medivac, nice little maneuver. Of course, bearing in mind he can't actually get out of his base at the minute. There's just not enough space to do that. Interestingly enough, Boxer has a bit of indecision here with this orbital command. It's like, do I want to go there? Do I not? Now I think he's seen what he's up against. He's like, I'm comfortable. I'm okay with that. I've got tanks, I've got Marines, and this is where the push starts.
And I make that mistake all the time. It's when you have the command centers like hotkeyed all as one, and you try to build or change the waypoint, and you send the command center back. It's so annoying, but
it's infuriating,
Boxer,
isn't it?
Yeah, it's so bad. Like, I do it all the time. And SlayerSBoxer now set up with 2 siege tanks. Gonna deny creep, but I don't think he can really obviously take a fight because Rhett's building Banelings. He's got Lings as well. Not building Banelings right now, but has Banelings, building Lings, and will be able to crush this force if he stays there.
Yeah, now, nice spot there by Boxer on the right Xel'Naga tower, looking for the runaround flank here from Ret, but that'll be spotted, and he should be a little bit more prepared for it. More tanks. He's on 3 tanks now, and is rolling forward to try and assault the third. These Lings are going to do precisely nothing, and really what they need to do is either try and do a run-by here. There's an opportunity. This third is completely naked here for Boxer, and in the meantime, Boxer's going to go after Ret's third, which is also rather undefended. The tanks have now been set up. There's a possibility for a run-by around the back. There's a lot of Banelings available here as well. He goes for the run-by, gets the surround, and crashes into Boxer. A good Baneling detonation here, but a quick pickup and evacuation. And it doesn't matter because the third was killed. So, a decent trade, definitely. I feel.
Yeah, killing that third base, it didn't matter if you lost everything there. Well, it probably would because you lose to a counterattack, but he did sufficient enough and more than so by killing that. And now, once again, we have Ret on the rebound, going to the same club, who is now pushing forward, and there's minimal units here for SlayerSBoxer. He only has that single tank to help defend against Banelings, and he could come crashing through here on this third base if he doesn't decide to go for the main.
Yeah, just to make matters worse, these are speed Banelings with +1 as well, so they're not mucking about. They're going to smash their way through here. This third base is so incredibly open here, but Ret's going to actually go... I don't agree with this necessarily. Ret's going to go for the natural here. He does catch this tank completely undeployed and swarms in, but Boxer just tried to split his Marines up and get target fire. The Banelings crash into the mineral line, but most of that actually pulls off of there as well, so little damage done here. He's going to now just go for the production and for the main mineral line. Can he get a good detonation here? That would really swing this game in Ret's favor, but the split comes in from Boxer and just inexplicably leaves those SCVs down at the bottom there. I think just as a case of trying to pick up the rest of his forces and get into a defensive posture. He lost a lot of SCVs there. He's down to 35, so that did a lot of damage there for Ret.
And Boxer does drop to the south side, but does absolutely nothing, kills a single Ling and then has to return.
Yeah.
And that didn't work at all. But yeah, really nice move from Ret there. And I really think his decision to go to the natural was like Inception. It was because he goes there and he's like, well, I guess Boxer's going to be anticipating me to launch everything at the third base. And the majority of his units were at that third base. So he went into the natural. So a really nice mind game there by Ret. But now we do have this counter push in 2-2 Marines. They're pretty damn scary, especially when you have 0-0 Mutalisks and you're losing bases, so you're taking gas away from Banelings.
The Mutas run right over it. They get annihilated without a problem, and that's going to be a bit of a bind. Banelings coming around the back to try and flank, and Boxer splitting so very well. Look at this, and the detonation ends up going off there. It's a shame that he couldn't get that split just to finish things off, and this is going to get cleaned up, and Ret's going to have fun times with these medevacs, I feel. Assuming those Marines ever die, which they don't. They finally get through there. Heroic effort there by those Marines, but thankfully there's not enough mutas, and of course they are +0, so nothing's going to really happen there to those medevacs.
Absolutely, and I'm really scared that Ret's upgrading on Double Evolution Chamber. He's only mining from 3 bases, having lost that third base too, that he's spending his gas a little bit too much here, and he needs to concentrate on one or the other, and switching over to Mutalisk at this stage when Marines are at 2-2 because of the double engineering bay is gonna hurt.
Yeah, I certainly think so. The Lings get in there before the deployment again. The Mutas come around, but the Mutas are going to get devastated as well by those Marines. Look at that. And will he be able to get his way through? He can't. The Marines hold, and down go the Mutalisks. And hey, a free 4th base.
Yeah, this is going to be amazing if Boxer manages to take this off. He's working on +3 armor as well, 2 tanks at a time, and like I said, the difference is trying to use Mutalisks. Ret realizes it now, and he's like, gotta build Banelings, and immediately builds more Banelings, using his gas all there, but he has limited amount of resources due to losing so much here, and the cost efficiency very heavily favored here for SlayerSBoxer, who adds on additional barracks as he starts to recover from the SCV damage earlier on.
Yeah, run away, run away! The Marines getting out of the way, but reinforcements coming to back them up, and they will shut down as an effective rear guard. Does need to get these guys fixed up. There are 6 medevacs in the field, which will certainly help him in that regard. A huge run-by going in here. But he knows there's no third base up to the top, so if he has to strike this third here, well, he's got... Yeah, he might catch them undeployed. We'll see.
Yeah, we will see. Boxer has Xel'Naga tower, so he does see anything incoming. Ret taking another base in the center there, but he is pushing forward. He cannot get caught on siege. He does manage to siege up in time, but here Ret goes.
And will he be able to overrun it more to the point? The Banelings actually get target fired down, and there's barely any left for those Marines. The Marines now just like, ha! We don't care, but a good detonation goes on the right flank. That single Baneling gets through, and Boxer always seems to let one slide through, unfortunately, which ends up doing a lot of damage, but it doesn't really matter. He's got enough Marines and Medivacs here. Let's see if he can break his way through once again, just moving those units back to take less damage, splitting up again for the incoming Banelings, and Rhett's like, ha! I know your tricks. I'm not going to fall into that trap again.
Indeed, he's not. But look at the minerals for Rhett. Rhett's mined out in his main. His natural's almost gone as well. And it is 21 minutes in the game. So despite on the minimap you see a lot of bases for Rhett, he's not actually mining from that many places. And clearly affecting his game now, especially as Marines are so close to getting +3 armor. Mutalisk and Lings will do nothing to these guys.
That's very, very true. It's just going to be tickling, honestly, and as far as I'm aware, Boxer ain't ticklish, and here come the Mutas once again just to do a little bit of damage, but even with a small number of Marines, he can tear, absolutely rip and tear his way through here, and Boxer actually does need to repair that, and he's got to be quick about it as well. He's actually going to end up losing these frontal buildings. That wouldn't be good at all, and it lets the Lings in there unnecessarily, I feel. The bunker gets ripped to shreds. In the meantime, a counterattack comes in from the bottom once again as Boxer pushes forward onto this third.
Yeah, and only 4 Banelings be morphed in at a time, and that's a sad day for LiquidRet, who his natural, even though SlayerSBoxer's natural, even though he's getting ripped to shreds, reinforcements at these kind of upgrades will beat that down eventually, and Boxer can even send units home, which he is doing from that 3rd base to the natural.
Yeah, and this is the 4th base, and it leaves only 1 mining base there, and there's no drones there either. Drone count is starting to plummet. Funnily enough, Boxer's lost a lot of SCVs again, but at this stage, since he's got this fully functional 3rd and a lot of mules, it doesn't really matter as long as he can kill Rhett in the next few minutes before he has to take another base.
Absolutely, and Rhett just sacrifices the bottom left, realizing that he doesn't have enough time. He has to go for a final push, and this may be it, but there's no way he can stop those.
Oh, wow. He does get a good surround here, but the Banelings don't do a damn thing. Really good splitting there by Boxer. Good target fire as well with the tanks. The Marine army holds, and now Rhett is under dire threat. The supply count for both of these guys looking really, really low as they've torn massive chunks out of each other. That's all that's left of the natural. The main is ravaged. Add-ons destroyed all over the place, but that doesn't matter. There's the GG from Rhett. He realizes he can't maintain at this stage, and indeed, one more attack from Boxer would have finished him off. So that was the correct time to GG as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely, and imagine if Boxer didn't make that slip up in that that first game there. I mean, he would have gone easily 2-0, but we went to a 3rd game.
Yes, indeed, we are. We're going to take a quick break, folks, and then when we come back, we're going to get the conclusion. Who will take that 2-series lead in Group A, that crucial early morale-boosting lead to potentially go through the group for that amazing prize as we go through this tournament? We'll find out very shortly, folks. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, Game 3 of this fellow right here. In the blue trunks, playing Zerg to the northeast on Tal'Daram Altar, it is LiquidRet versus his opponent, the legendary SlayerSBoxer, in the red trunks, playing Terran to the southwest.
Indeed he is, and this, just by spawning locations, could prove difficult for the Emperor, and the reason for that is cross positions Terran versus Zerg is always difficult due to the fact that Zerg sees your every movement, no matter what timing, what movement you do, or drops are very easily picked up here, and that forces you into a more macro focus, more drawn out kind of style, and that's where Zerg shines, you know, especially at that late game Broodlord Infestor composition. So we'll see what the Emperor has planned. This guy always has a specific plan for a specific map, for a specific player. That's what makes him such a beautiful player.
Yeah, that's very true. And it helps when you're in a house full of unbelievably good players who are all more than willing to help you out with that. I feel that that build that we saw in Game 1 was obviously a Slayers created and practiced build for that very specific situation against Zerg. And it could have worked. I mean, it certainly did the damage to work, but it turns out that builds like that you don't see all that much, they are untested, and as such, there can be problems, and maybe a response, say, from a foreign Zerg player that doesn't play the same as a Korean can be just a little bit different. So, it's dangerous, but Boxer is absolutely able to adapt to this stuff. I mean, he's been playing for so very long. He doesn't get surprised anymore.
Yeah, and he understands StarCraft, you know, for playing for so long, he just gets it, right?
Yeah.
He gets it. And we do have the barracks down, refinery before that, so it looks like he's just going to rush up straight for factory. You know, as soon as he gets roughly towards 100 gas, or as soon as the barracks finishes, he can place that down, and we'll want to throw down the reactor also, and just go for a reactor Hellion opening off this. And this is a pretty good build, actually, for this map, and against Ret too, because Ret is a player that doesn't get speed immediately. He's going to hatch first, then late spawning pool every time. And on this expansion too, there's no ramp. There's no way you can queen block. Therefore, you do have that off chance of getting in there with Hellions and doing damage.
Now, the interesting thing about that was that we did see Refinery first here from Boxer and the reactor coming down. So Red scouts that, and at this point he's going to be thinking, okay, right, Red Flame Hellion. We shall see what comes out of that. And Boxer is trying to force this drone away. It will eventually happen. That drone almost trying to hump the SCV there. That's inappropriate for children.
Indeed, that is. That's not... Wow. What time is it? Oh wait, it's like 10.
Oh, we passed the watershed?
Yeah,
it depends on the country.
Okay, then.
Yeah, the US
like
kids
America.
need to tune out right now. Yeah, they've got to watch the rebroadcast so that it's actually appropriate. And up and down the factory goes. Where it stops, well, we certainly knows, and it's on top of the reactor. So, well, this is... You know what? I'm actually kind of disappointed, because after those two crazy 2-racks, seeing Reactor Hellion, that's like, oh, really? It just seems mundane for Boxer, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does have the twist of Refinery first, but yeah, it's pretty standard, to be honest. And Rhett knows that the Hellions are coming out a little bit faster than usual, therefore he actually pulls his initial Queen to the natural to help defend, and he's going to miss a Lava Inject if he stays there, and it's going to slow him down a little bit too. Boxer, upon, you know, he goes in, he actually sees both Queens too, so he knows exactly what's going on, and we do have the command center behind this, so of course, not doing anything crazy, but let's see what Boxer can do here.
Yeah, he's decided not to put down 2 more Hellions. He's only going in with 2. So once again, this may be to try and provoke Rhett into overcommitting. It's just these little tiny subtle things, isn't it, in Boxer's play that are making it so special to watch. He's now going to follow up with 2 more, thinking, all right, well, I've shown 2 and then I've gone back. Maybe what I can then do is to get in and do damage, as Rhett doesn't expect that there will be a later Hellion push here. But what we've got here is basically a 1-1-1 in the sense that there is a barracks, there's a factory, and there is a starport. And my oh my, this could very well be Hellion drop.
Yeah, definitely, and we can see that he controls the south Zelnaga tower here or know at least that there isn't a Zergling there, and he can easily just continue east from that direction and skip the radius of the other Zelnaga tower. He is taking a gamble though every time that somebody does use this kind of style. It is a gamble because it's like playing darts and hoping that you don't hit a balloon or something along the way, as the Overlords can easily be described as a balloon. And sometimes you hit and sometimes it's horrible, but sometimes it is a risk, and sometimes actually that's a risk too. You know, he doesn't see the medivac either as those links pop up, but sometimes you don't see anything, and upon seeing this we can see on the minimap there's nothing there, and wisely Boxer moves to the other Zelnaga tower to make sure that there is nothing there, and luckily, look how smart that is for him to move there, because there would have been a link.
Yeah, there would have been, and it doesn't matter that the Ling lives. What matters is the Ling didn't have control of the Zelnaga tower at that time. So these Hellions are going to go unscouted. The Ling completely misses the medivac, and Rhett is utterly unprepared for what's about to hit him.
Yeah, there's 6 slings. Even if it gets spotted now by this Overlord south of his base, there's no way he can do anything about it because there's no lings. So he's definitely losing drones. Rhett has to accept the fact he's losing drones and minimize the loss. Well, we'll see how low that cost will actually be.
Yeah, nice quick elevation in there by SlayerSBoxer, and here he goes. He's going to go right for it, and wasting a few shots here on the hatchery there, but then making his way in, and it's a target-rich environment. Look at the lineup here. Wow, I'm very surprised that Rhett went for that, honestly. I think he lost a few more drones than he necessarily had to. 4 Hellions still alive. Going to be down to 3 in a second. All of this mining time wasted, of course. And the Hellions now flanking around, looking for another hit. Interception comes in with the Speedlings around to the side here. Looks to get the clean out. Can he do it before he loses any more drones? And then we can see the cost. 18 workers killed.
Yeah, absolutely worth it. So worth it. So worth it. And now we just have, you know, a regular follow-up behind Boxer. He's just going to add on another barracks. So don't know what he's doing with this factory. He shouldn't really be on there to build more Hellions. Like, Hellions are pretty much useless at this point.
Weird,
but I guess it's kind of counterproof if the counter did come, that he'll be good against Lings and Banelings, just the added on Hellions, because they're pretty good, of course, splash damage-wise against Lings. So there's things like that, but he won't stay on there for long for sure. He'll probably switch up with another barracks on there in a few seconds' time, but so far looking pretty good for Boxer with a third base as well, and Rhett opting to not take the aggression route this time, like game 1, but instead takes the greed route, and will be building no units for a long time here as he drones up.
Yeah, and the aggression route I don't feel would be a good idea, especially with those Hellions out there and the ability to reinforce consistently from the back. Maybe he could bust it because this wall-off it's a little thin on the ground, honestly. Its supply depots and bunkers, that's nowhere near as strong as the 4 barracks wall-off that we saw, but going greedy is probably a good idea. It's a big map, and it's difficult to strike. As you pointed out at the start, it's very easy to cover this map as you go on and spot drops. Now, early on, of course, not the case, but the later it gets, the more Overlord spread happens, and the more creep spread happens.
Absolutely, so he's going to have to be very careful about if he does decide to do drops or not. And in the main base of Boxer, we do have a barracks finally going on that reactor, and it looks like double factory, both will be used for tank production, of course, as he has his third base up now, and very shortly we will have to see, oh, actually there is an engineering base, so there is an engineering base down for Boxer, but he will be taking that third base very shortly now, and once again, Rhett going double upgrades, going Bailing Speed, and also Aspire. The Spire, you know, when going double upgrades, you just don't have enough gas for Mutalisks, so we'll see how well and how efficient they actually are in this game, because in game number 2, they were pretty much useless, and so much money was wasted in them.
Yeah, there was a bit of miscontrol there by Rhett, which is actually uncharacteristic. Perhaps not everybody knows this, but Rhett actually really is a muted player. He loves them, and he usually controls them very well indeed. He doesn't just build drones, he sometimes builds units too. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, he does, and like you said, his preferred route, especially in this matchup, is Mutalisks. But with going double upgrades, and it's not even that you're spending 2 upgrades at once, it's that they finish faster, so therefore you have to upgrade to 2, and they're more expensive. So, you know, like we were already saying, you can only be a 5 Mutalisk asset at current point 6 now. And we do see Boxer pushing out with a regular timing here, just knowing that, alright, he's probably built drones now he's just starting his army, which is going to be pretty small, so he's going to try and do some damage, but Lings do manage to scout the third base here for Boxer, so this is a pretty big win.
Yeah, that's a good thing for Rhett to be able to do, because now, of course, he can get his meter count up and he can start to harass that particular base and do some real, genuine damage. He hasn't managed to really get in and do anything just yet, with Boxer now rolling forward to try and clean out some of this creep, which has spread a little bit too much for Boxer's taste.
Absolutely, and it's always good clearing creep, especially because it's in one big chunk on the lower ground here, so really big win there for Boxer. Meanwhile, Rhett is building a lot of units. He's got 78 drones, so almost 80 drones, building a lot of units. Boxer does decide to come home. Very smart decision. He understands that Bailings were morphed, Lings were made, has to retreat home, and he has to meet up with his reinforcements so he can actually lose both armies.
Yeah, he's got to be really, really careful here. Boxer's usually good for intercepting this kind of stuff, and will he be able to do the same thing? It looks like he will. He ends up losing the Hellions in a really awkward spot, but the Marines come together, and the remaining reinforcements do get shut down. The question is, does Rhett decide to go? I mean, I don't rate it. I don't think that's a particularly good idea, especially against well-deployed tanks and a lot of Marines.
Yeah, these Marines not well upgraded compared to the last game. There's 2 engineering bases, but only at 1-0, and that will make these Lings even stronger than usual. Of course, because Rhett's at 2-1. He doesn't have +2 carapace, but I'm sure he will do soon. And he is going to be thinking about a 4th base momentarily also. So things are looking pretty good for both players. In this defensive posture from Boxer, he should be looking to take a 4th base any moment now. And he is finally working on these upgrades.
Yeah, but what I'm worried about is the amount of Banelings here is pretty ridiculous, and we've seen Rhett throughout this series kind of trading inefficiently, but in this game it hasn't really made all that much of a difference. He hasn't done that just yet, but that's a lot of Banelings. He's sending in 35 in total. Can Boxer hold up against a force that large? I guess we're about to find out as they roll in. The initial tank salvos hitting the Lings, not the Banelings, more importantly. Target fire's got to come in. The Banelings now crash their way in. Boxer splits fairly well, but he is overwhelmed by sheer weight of numbers, at least in his initial force. Reinforcements come in on the side here, and he may have enough. In fact, I think he does, even with that Baneling detonation, to hold it and force it back.
Yeah, horrible, horrible ending to that fight for Rhett, because as a Terran player, you have to, as a Zerg player, you have to crush it. You don't let Medivac survive, which in game 2 really hurt Rhett as well, and it was just a small is so small away from beating it all down. So Rhett is going to be biting his nails as he's playing. I don't even know if that's possible, because he knows this is game 3. This is a very important win, and that was just a little bit underweight.
Yeah, biting nails, bad EPM, man. You want to watch out for that, certainly. And he has a few free overlords donated once again to the Boxer cause, and a few tanks rolling across as well. And now looking to set up a position. He's going to have to clear more creep, though, because he's still under a lot of potential threat. We've got an attempted Ling run by, but I'm sorry. Look at this. Look at what Boxer's done on the 3rd here with this bunker.
Yeah, that's really nice. Boxer's always been a player that would do that, and you know, it prevents the run bys. It really does. And once again, he's so... Oh my god, he's about to get crushed.
Yeah, we're about to say, he's doing so well, but now he overcommits. It's as simple as that. He allows Lings to run by, and it crashes in and does a lot of damage. The Banelings aren't even going to be required to clean this up, and the Mutas now get a free ride. And unlike the second game, they will be able to kill at least 2, if not all of them.
Yeah, and finally he gets... Well, he lets one Medivac live, loses a few Mutilas, so that wasn't the best trade again there. And,
no.
But it's okay, because he does get a majority of those Medivacs, and it's still only 3 base for Boxer. And it's a little bit bad that he hasn't built a 4th base. His main is almost mined out, so he should be. There's no reason not to be, otherwise he won't have the income he should be at. And we do see Rep with the Great Aspire now as well.
Yeah, scary stuff here from Rhett. 4 base, Great Aspire. Very, very dangerous, and it changes the entire way that the game works, because you just can't stay on Marine Tank against Broodlord. It just doesn't do the job. You've got to do more than that. You need to maybe get the Viking count out. In fact, that's probably the best way to deal with it. So we've got this Marine Tank force now pushing, and he's got to hit before Broodlords start to come out and actually do some real damage. If he gets caught out again, then the Broodlords are just going to start their really slow, inexorable march across the map. Quick drop here by Boxer into the mineral line of the 4th base. Going to do some damage, actually, because the spines aren't quite up, but he'll need to evacuate there momentarily.
Absolutely, and there is another drop heading down to the right-hand side and on the natural here, so multi-prong harassment while setting up Siege Tank, so awesome play here by Boxer.
Yeah, I'm liking that one. Good focus fire to bring the Spine Crawler down as well. Most of the Marines remain alive. Here comes the Swarm, trying to overlap it, but what I like is the staggered tanks here, but unfortunately they didn't get the correct amount of focus, and as a result, he gets overwhelmed again. This army gets annihilated. This drop still doing damage here, but finally gets cleaned up, and then straight into the main again. Oh, he could kill the Great Aspire if he actually goes for it. What will he choose to do? He's going to do damage to the gas miners here. Is he really going to kill that extractor? No, he's going to focus down on the spawning pool, but will he be able to get that spawning pool? He's in a good position, but the medevac gets taken down. So close, Baneling detonated. Oh, Rhett saves it.
Yeah, he does save it, but another push is coming and still no 4th base. The income has dropped for Boxer, but after those attacks, it's equally dropped here for Rhett, both mining 1100, and Boxer stretches forward once again, not quite at the same strength upgrades here as Rhett, and now the Broodlords are being morphed. Maybe Boxer can snipe a 4th base before they get morphed.
Yeah, he's going to have to be pretty cautious to do that, and unfortunately, tanks take a big hit once again. Fungal's now in the mix, so Marine splitting even more crucial, but he's taken a lot of punishment here. He's got a few Marines still ready to try and take out the 4th base. The Broodlords are very close to coming out. The Infestors don't really have a lot of energy here, but there's not much of an army left for Boxer. Will it be enough to kill the 4th?
It shouldn't be. I mean, oh my god,
in
theory, Broodlords are pretty damn slow. Mulas come in.
Oh, he's got it! He's got it! Oh, man, that should not have happened. And, yeah, you're right, Broodlords are pretty damn slow. You can lose the entire army here, but the fact of the matter is he killed the 4th base, and that leaves Rhett on pretty much 1.1 mining bases.
Yeah, really, that's so sick. And Infestors, man, you can make Infestors seem like the most worthless unit in the game if you spread Marines. Because if you don't get clumped up, they're pathetic. But if you are spread out as a true Terran play should be, they're useless. They were useless in that fight there, and they couldn't even stop that 4th base from going down, which is what they were there to do. And we do see Boxer now with units, or drop up the top left, and units on the bottom right here. Once again, he's not expanding because he feels the win. He's so close to taking the game, but he finally does throw that down, but it's so delayed.
Yeah, it really is, and that could be a risk there for Boxer. Good interception here by Rhett, looking to try and stop the drop. Can he finish it off? He can't. The Infestor actually had an opportunity to fungal later, but it wouldn't have killed the medevac, but it would have allowed those mutas to actually take it down. So a missed opportunity there by Rhett, I feel. This base is up, but it's under consistent threat because Boxer has no intention of allowing it to stay unharassed at this stage. Another drop is now heading in that direction. We also note the Viking count is starting to get going. It's not very high yet, though. That's a risk. Rhett's got a lot of units available here, and I'm a bit scared for Boxer because, as he said, he stayed on 3 bases for perhaps too long, especially as Terran, because he can mine out very quickly with mules.
And Rhett hasn't seen this drop in his main base, and those Marines are smelling that spawning pool as it's leaking blood. True shark Marines here going in, and the greatest spy could also go down.
Yeah, it could. We'll see how good this push is. +3 weapon. Ha, yeah, building armor? No, thank you, says Boxer. He smashes his way through that. And what does he do with this? And curiously, he doesn't decide to take out more tech. He could have taken the Infestation Pit and the Queen there as well. I think he's more focused on this attack here on the 5th, which is well sieged up, pulling Red apart, and this is what I like to see from Terran, because if you're going up against Broodlords, they have one big weakness, aside from not being able to shoot air, which is they are immobile.
Yeah, and wow, he loses all of his tanks there, and another drop to the top left here. Boxer, you know, focused on clearing the tech from the main, but more importantly, just chopping off the heads of Rhett's expansions, and we do have that drop at the top left heading towards that back main, or back 4th base again, sorry. So he's going to look to damage, and there's nothing there again. There's Broodlords are nowhere near. The Infestors are chasing down these Marines on the left-hand side, and Boxer can easily just get rid of these units on the left. He's like, whatever, kill my Marines on the left, but I'm going to kill all your drones on that base in the bottom.
Yeah, and there we go. That's been eliminated there, but this is just an absolute slaughterfest over here. We've got Marines all over the place. Another drop coming in. A lot of economic damage has been inflicted here. And this is interesting. We're seeing a double Ghost Academy coming out. Could be for double Ghost upgrades. Could be for nukes. I guess we're going to find out because... don't take away from Rhett. His army's still scary. He's got 12 Infestors and 5 Broodlords. About to take it to 7.
Yeah, and it's for double upgrades here, as we can now see. And he's like, all right, you know, my ghosts are very late. My 4th base is very late. Might as well, you know, double upgrade and get them out straight into fight, because he's going to need them against this composition. And once again, he is dropping that base and doing significant damage.
Yeah, but he wants to try and take it out. He's got a good spread of Marines, and if the mutants try to come around from the side, they will be picked off by those Marines on the top high ground. He's so close to taking the hatchery down again! Oh, it's so close! Will it die? It finally dies. The single heroic Marine gets it. A great fungal there by Rhett to take out what was on top of the cliff, but... oh god, Rhett is bleeding so badly right now, and his army is... he's getting the runaround. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. And there's a very, very happy SCV on the right-hand side now that sees there's no other expansions for Rhett after killing both of those left-hand side bases. And Boxer and that SCV hand in hand doing a little dance and a twirl, because this is so good, because now Rhett just has this one army. It's pretty much unreplenishable because it's so cost heavy. These units are so expensive, and once again, Boxer's got a decently sized army. They're now well upgraded. Ghosts are in the mix too, and as long as he spreads out against fungal growth, he's going to be very good here.
Yeah, this is looking really good for Boxer, considering that he took a pounding early on. He lost a lot of armies, but he's been picking at Rhett this entire time. Now has a larger army, but he still has to contend with this. And as you have pointed out accurately, this is a very costly, very dangerous army here. It's not as well upgraded as it could be. It's 2-1 on the Broodlords. The Lings are at 3-2, which is pretty good, especially with the Adrenal Glands upgrade. Oh, a couple of Cloak Ghosts coming in here, and there's no Overseer. Oh, the MPs could very well land, and they do. There's lots of energy taken out there, not as much as I would have expected. Another quick drop coming in here, and these Ghosts kind of surrounded. Funnily enough, the EMPs weren't anywhere near as effective as I would have thought, considering they were so clumped up, and now this base here for Boxer's just been shredded, and he's back on 3 again.
Look at the position Botter's just set himself up above this. Boxer's spread so well here, just waiting, alright, come back and die. And yeah, the EMPs were not that good, only getting 2 Infestors there, losing 4 Ghosts, not the best little trade there, but in goes the the Vikings, sorry.
Yep, and a Viking split up once again to ensure that the Fungals are nowhere near as effective, also positioning Vikings up to the top here. A Fungal goes off, but it's not going to work. The Infestors are getting chased back here by the Marines who are coming in. The 3rd base taking a pounding once again. The Marines step forward to try and smash this. Will he be able to take this down? He's got to bring the Infestors down because he's taking so much damage from those Fungals, but the Marines aren't quite dead yet. The Viking count is huge, picking off loads of Broodlords. Will Boxer be able to crush this army? He stims forward. He can do it. He's got it right there.
Wow. You know, Fungal Growth, man, if you don't quite have enough, it makes it so silly because Marine's on red HP, killing off the entire of the worth of that army, and all of a sudden the army value, you know, probably skyrocketed, you know, 90 versus 48 now as he marches forward, even with TvZ that can repair the Vikings and tanks, and he's going to be launching himself once again at the expansions of Ret, which have managed to come back up. These two bases are back up and mining, but not for much longer.
Boxer is not messing around in this game, honestly. He's had a good comeback here. He's surged. He is down to... He actually isn't mining. He's only just mining from this base over to the side, but there's a big convoy of SCVs moving in. The Vikings now landing, and actually, he's buffering the damage from the Lings on the Vikings, allowing the Marines to live. Absolutely crucial play there, and a bit of clutch as well, honestly. Quick thinking by Boxer. I don't know, does he think these are Goliaths? Well, he's doing very well with them nonetheless.
Yeah, and this feels like he's, you know, sealing the deal. He can siege up on the high ground, launch down to the south here.
Oh no,
kind of the east.
Oh, look what he's found. Oh, it's a stack of blood and gore all over the verdant fields of Tal'Darim Altar right now. He finds a large cache of hidden drones, and he smashes them to pieces, and now is going to look to just drop down once again on this fourth, and Ret is out of mining bases at this point. He is building over to the side here. That will be intercepted. Link's moving in. It's like, oh, there's no base for us to kill. Boxer's expanded to the other side.
Yeah, and Boxer has no money coming in. Oh, actually, sorry, here's this left-hand side base. What am I on about?
Yeah,
he just has this single base now with a bunch of SCVs, and that's really keeping him afloat. Just by building a few more 3-3 Marines is going to shut down anything that Ret really does have, and Ret is on the ropes. He's trying to build up a mining base on this right-hand side, but not near completed, and Boxer, once again, will just look for it and try to chop its head off, and the army value again of Ret's so incredibly low.
It really is. He's got nothing to really answer this. To be fair, 22 Vikings on the ground kills the army of Ret at the moment, I think. It's just that ridiculous, and that really shouldn't happen. These guys aren't even upgraded, but with that many Vikings being used, that wasn't even all of them. He's got more coming in. It's ridiculous. And he's now marching across the map and looks to try and strangle Ret, and he knows where this base is now. And he's going to go and smash it, and if he does so and Ret can't stop him, then that will be game over.
Yeah, indeed, and that is not so good for Team Liquid fans, and of course Ret fans too. Ret, an amazing guy, but Boxer just seems to be pushing harder for it, striving harder for the win, and he's pushing towards that bottom base, and once he gets there and there's no way that Ret can deal with it, yeah, that's going to be tough.
I think so. He's going to have to throw his final army at it. The Lings and a few sorry looking Banelings, knowing that they're going to their doom for no real reason here. The tanks are already in a rear guard position, and that is the GG. Wow. Boxer surges ahead in Group A, 2-0. Can you imagine that? Nobody was really predicting that in this group.
No, and I was one of those guys too. I definitely looked at the group and said, all right, well, I guess, you know, Boxer's not going to get knocked down. And Ret drops a game here. So Ret goes 1-1, Boxer goes 2-0, and Boxer being at number 1 in the group, hands up, I didn't think that would happen.
I didn't either, honestly. Admittedly, he's now got to go up against two really good Terran players in the form of Puma and MarineKingPrime, but Boxer's TvT, man, it's pretty good. I remember the legendary game from a while ago. Him versus MMA, pretty much kind of like father versus son, master versus apprentice. He played so well there, eventually losing to his prodigy, but still, it was really good. And if I were Puma right now, having watched these games, I would be thinking, this is Boxer, and he is damn intimidating.
Absolutely, and it's looking very good for SlayerSBoxer fans, of course, but we will be going into the third game, which is definitely going to be a good game. Puma versus TvZ, and TvZ has to get this game, and we saw him lose versus MarineKingPrime just a few minutes ago, I guess a little bit more than a few minutes ago, but we saw him lose there. He needs this win.
Yeah, he does, because if he loses this, he is, as far as I'm concerned, effectively out. Going 0-3 in his group, when you've got a 5-man group, and only top 2 advance, you're basically done. It's as simple as that. So TvZ has got to win it. We'll see whether he can do that after this short break. Don't go anywhere.